Nice to meet you. Name's Stuart Ergin, book hunter. Now, I've been told by my cameraman that my travels are worth recording. So, the plan today is to go out and do a bit of adventure and read some books. I have a few in my pouches, but we'll read it come the end. So, without further ado, let's get to moving. Have a good day, Machna. So, while I was out, I heard things about assassinations and various
Well
other
met.
shady things. Well met.
I haven't time for fools.
Good, because I don't have time for idiots. Now, I've heard the tale told that there are a few guilds here, out and about. But the biggest one is the Assassination Guild. And as me grandpappy Silas used to say, there ain't nothing better than a wet blade. Now, he died to a rather wet blade, so we'll see if that's true. I was gonna find a proper innocent. Though, I think the first thing I'll do is check out the big city. I did just get here a week ago, and I can't believe I haven't been to the big city yet. So, we're gonna make our way to the big city, and maybe we'll even dungeon dive along the way. Also, if you want to know who's recording my adventure, I've got a rather accomplished mage recording this whole thing. His name's Smab, though I'm sure that's not his real name. Tells some of the wondrous tales, but he's always told me not to tell anyone about it. So, that's the big city. Well, let's take a bit of a detour. Detours are always fun. A cabin, eh? That'd be a crime. Now, me Uncle Reuben, he loves crimes. He's actually who taught me how to be somewhat sneaky. He's out there in the world somewhere, being a sneaky fuck. Have here. I see the deer. They look like people in the distance. And I could use some rumors right about now. Running at its full speed, I tell you. Not the most glamorous thing to do in leather, let alone metal. Alright.
Your money or your life?
Well, sir. No, you can't have it.
Actually, that's the way this one prefers it.
Time to get wrecked. And that is why you don't fuck with the book hunter. The only thing worth anything is his curious. His shield doesn't weigh too much, it's worth a bit. Remember. Holy shit, that man's stoned. I forget what I was gonna say. His abs kind of mesmerized me. I swear, this place has more bandits than where I'm from. But I come all the way from High Rock to get here, and I find more bandits every day. Well, I don't mind, it's nice money, but they could do better. Sorry folks, my mind gapped and I nearly forgot how to jump. It's a nice amount of repair. Oh, son of a sanger! Let's go in. After all, I'm a man of books and adventure. Alright, it sounds like we got some undead. They're usually hit by holy magic, but in my case, I majored in destruction, restoration, and sneaking, with a minor in archery. So, we should be okay. I was gonna say, as long as we take it stealthy. My uncle really needs to teach me more about stealth next time I find him. There we go. Bone meal. My great uncle Sank. He taught me how to brew. But he didn't teach me everything before he died. go. That's not bad. My great-grandfather, apologies, language. My great-grandfather Fankus Adorail. He was a great tomb explorer. He always used to say, watch out for traps. Good Lord. Gonna need some help here shortly. Deeper we go, I guess. Deeper we go. That is one of the reasons I'm majored in restoration. So the thing about ghosts is, like zombies, they don't like zombies or skeletons. They don't like the holy spells like restoration. Was that really it? Surely that's not it. No way. Is this crypt really that small? Guarded by a few zombies, skeletons. I really need to learn my undead. Skeletons and a ghost. That's a downright pity. That is truly, truly a shame. Things get exceedingly dangerous. All sorts of creatures come out, so the brochure said. But a show won't be nothing like that. Wait, we found an inn. That's perfect. The bay.
Speak. What is it, sir?
I've heard a lot about this Grey Fox. What can you tell me about him?
He's that thief that the Imperial Watch are always going on about. He likes to steal from rich folk.
Really, so? Does it give him to the poor? I'm sure I'll meet him someday.
Anvil is all in an uproar. First the chapel attacked, now the prophet ranting about the end of the world.
Really? The end of the world? Well, that's a shame.
Carry on.
Let's get to the Roxy Inn.
Oh, hello.
Good evening.
What's going on with
Well
you?
met. Good
Sounds
evening.
like the Empire has
What's
given
going
up
on with you?
stopping the skooma trade
I saw a
in
mud
Elsweyr.
crab a couple of days
And I
ago.
hear the tribal chiefs
Ugly
are
little
supporting
animals.
the Renridra Kryn.
Nasty creatures.
That
But I hear their
skooma
meat
trade is
rather
bad
tasty.
business.
And the
Bye.
Renridra Kryn are just a
Greetings.
bunch of thugs.
Good evening.
Good day.
The Great Forest was cleared for agriculture around Lake Romara.
Hello.
Hello.
But it's
Hey,
mostly
going
wilderness.
on with
Someone... I don't know how to make this request any simpler, but to put it bluntly, Raylan the Gravefinder must die.
Okay. Why does he have to die?
A few months ago, that witch of a necromancer decided to inhabit Moss Rock Cavern just north of my inn. I don't know what she does in there. Frankly, I don't want to know. However, I do know that after she arrived, the woods at night became unsafe. I've seen undead of all types walking in the dark woods near the cave entrance. Now this area is getting a bad reputation, and my business has waned. Every day, it seems the number of undead increase. If someone can get into the cave and kill Raylan, maybe we can stem the tide. Her death pays a handsome bounty. I hope you'll take advantage of the opportunity.
Well, I'm always in need of money for more books. But, well, what do you know about this Grey Fox character?
Blasted thief. I hope they string him up when they catch him. He's a slippery one, though. The beggars are his eyes and ears.
Okay. You know any rumors?
Still no news out of Elswell since everybody vanished. Strange business.
Elswell, huh?
A small settlement to the northwest of here, on the other side of the Silver Road to Bruma. We've had travelers through recently that say it's turned into a ghost town. Everyone vanished without a trace.
How much is it for
There's a
bed?
bed, of a sort. It ain't much, but it gets the job done. 10 gold a night if you're interested.
Not now.
Okay, it's your gold.
I've heard
Raylan.
some goblins.
Malene at the Roxy Inn in the wilderness north of the Imperial City has asked me to help her rid the area of a necromancer who calls herself Raylan, the Gravefinder. Raylan can be found in Moss Rock Cavern to the north. Let's put that as the active quest.
finally
here
get
recently.
what's coming
All
to
Bye.
her.
creatures.
We see.
Alright, so looks like we gotta take down get a bounty. So, we're heading up north after a necromancer. It's a good thing I have the restoration to cure her necromancy. Now this time, we're gonna be real sneaky like. See how many we can snipe. That's right. There's the undead. I'm always willing to get more arrows. Now, for those of you that don't know, undead are they're essentially souls shunted into some unholy body, be it a bunch of bones, rotten flesh, or in a few cases, literally just a spirit without a body. It's honestly the worst thing that can happen to you. That and being permanently under someone's control. So, let's put them all out of their misery, because they are miserable. Get back here. Let's get back here. You can't win. Well, that's nice. That'll fetch a nice price too. Alright, let's explore and see if we can't put any other poor souls to rest. You're not a poor soul. But I'm gonna feel that in the morning. Alright, we found a congregation. Congregation is what you call a group of undead. The larger the congregation, the worse it is, especially if they congregate to becoming en masse, which is about 100 or so undead. Not so smart running at an archer. I swear you guys are basically printing me money. Yep, and now we're dealing with zombies. So, now that that's done, what else do we have? So, don't think we've ran into the lady yet. There's gotta be a door to her chamber somewhere. We have a further way to get out. There we go. Just take the shot. Not gonna get me that easily.
fought mud crabs.
Mud crabs. Oh, they're dangerous. And my, oh, they're dangerous. Or more dangerous. I'll have to read that tome. Could always do with a bit more magic at my beck and call. Son of a bitch. God damn it. There we go. Something to improve me potions I'll end up brewing. Hold it. I think I've let too much on me. So, where's our lovely lady? So if I shot from over there... There we are! Rylan the Grave Finder. I'm definitely gonna have to hit up the city, offload some of these supplies I got. I may be strong, but I know I have my limits.
What is it, citizen?
Nothing.
Go ahead.
Good to
I'm
see
listening.
you.
I assume you've dealt with Raylan appropriately.
It's done.
I realize it's in poor taste to celebrate anyone's demise, but Raylan was evil through and through. You've done the right thing. I believe we had a contract. Here's my part.
Not bad. Let's get a bed for
There's
the
a
night.
bed of a. It's upstairs,
I'll take
second
it.
door on the left. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Trust me, I'm heading to the big city tomorrow. So, one shit bed won't matter.
How
Thank
goes it?
you for saving my
Been
business.
better. How about you?
I won't
I've
forget
been
it.
better.
Please the Nine with good works and visit the way shrines of Stendar for blessings of endurance.
You don't say.
What's the news from the other?
She's not wrong. It's just a bedroll. But I could use a bit of rest after all of that. Now, as I promised at the start, we're gonna read some books. And then we'll call it the night. Well, I'll call it that for the recording, and I'll see you later. So, I feel like we should start with a biography of Baron Zaya. Because also, down somewhere, here we are, you have the real Baron Zaya, which we'll probably read next time. So, let's get on the biography of Baron Zaya.
Hold on there, Stuart. I need a drink before we get to this.
Fine by me, but don't drink too much.
It's water, not alcohol.
Well, excuse me for thinking you'd have a good time.
Biography of Queen Baranzaya by Stern Gamboge, Imperial Scribe. Late in the Second Era, a girl child, Baranzaya, was born to the rulers of the Kingdom of Mournhold in what is now the Imperial Province of Morrowind. She was reared in all the luxury and security befitting a royal Dark Elven child, until she reached the age of 5. At such time, His Excellency Tiber Septim I, known as the First Emperor of Tamriel, demanded that the decadent rulers of Morrowind yield to him and institute imperial reform. Trusting in their vaunted magic, the Dark Elves impudently refused until Tiber Septim's army was on the borders. An armistice was hastily signed by the now eager Dunmer, but not before there were several battles, one of which laid waste to Mournhold, now known as Amalaxia. Little Princess Baranzaya and her nurse were found among the wreckage. The Imperial General, Symmachus himself, a Dark Elf, suggested to Tiber Septim that the child might someday actually be valuable, and so she was therefore placed with a loyal supporter who had recently retired from the Imperial Army. Sven Advinson had been granted the title of Count upon his retirement. His fiefdom, known as Darkmoor, was a small town in central Skyrim. Count Sven and his wife reared the princess as their own daughter, seeing to it that she was educated appropriately and, more importantly, that the imperial virtues of obediency, discretion, loyalty, and piety were instilled into the child. In short, she was made fit to take place as a member of the new ruling class of Morrowind. The girl, Baranzaya, grew in beauty, grace, and intelligence. She was sweet-tempered, which was a joy to her adoptive parents and their 5 young sons, who loved her as their elder sister. Other than her appearance, she differed from young girls of her class only in that she had a strong empathy for the woods and fields, and was wont to escape her household duties to wander there at times. Baron Zai was happily content until her 16th year, when a wicked orphan stable boy whom she had befriended out of pity told her that he had overheard a conspiracy between her guardian, Count Sven, and a Redguard visitor, to sell her as a concubine to Rihad, as no Nord or Breton would marry her on account of her black skin, and no dark elf would have her because of her foreign upbringing. "Whatever shall I do?" the poor girl said, weeping, trembling, for she had been brought up in innocence and trust, and it never occurred to her that her friend the stable boy would lie to her. The wicked boy, who was called Straw, said that she must run away if she valued her virtue, but that he would come with her as her protector. Sorrowfully, Baron Zaya agreed to this plan, and that very night she disguised herself as a boy, and the pair escaped to the nearby city of Whiterun. After a few days there, they managed to get jobs as guards for a disreputable merchant caravan. That caravan was heading to the east side roads in a mendacious attempt to elude the lawful tolls charged by the imperial highways. Thus the pair eluded pursuit until they reached the city of Riften, where they ceased their travels for a time. They felt safe in Riften, close as it was to the Morrowind border, so that the Dark Elves were enough of a common sight. Biography of Queen Baron Zaya, Volume 2, by Stern Gamboge, Imperial Scribe. The first volume of this series told the story of Baron Zaya's origin/heiress to the throne of Mournhold until her father rebelled against His Excellency Tiber Septim I, and thus brought ruin to the province of Morrowind. Thankfully, largely to the benevolence of the Emperor, the child Baron Zaya was not destroyed with her parents, but reared by Count Sven of Darkmoor, a loyal imperial trustee. She grew up into a beautiful and pious child, trustful of her guardian's care. This trust, however, was exploited by the wicked orphan stable boy at Count Sven's estate, who, with lies and fabrications, tricked her into fleeing Darkmoor with him when she turned 16. After many adventures on the road, they settled in Riften, a Skyrim city near the Morrowind border. The stable boy Straw was not altogether evil. He did love Baron Zaya in his own rather selfish fashion, and deception was the only thing he could think of that would cement possession of her. She, of course, felt only friendship toward him, but he was hopeful that she would one day change her mind. He wanted to buy a small farm and settle down into a comfortable marriage, but at the time his earnings were barely enough to feed and shelter them. Only after a short time in Riften, Straw fell in with a bold, villainous Khajiit thief named Theris, who proposed that they rob the Imperial Commandant's house in the central part of the city. Theris said that he had a client, a traitor to the Empire, who would pay well for any information they could gather there. Baron Zaya happened to overhear this plan, and was rather appalled, for she stole away from their rooms and walked the streets of Riften in desperation, torn between her loyalty to the Empire and her love for her friends. In the end, loyalty to the Empire prevailed over personal friendship, and she approached the Commandant's house to reveal her true identity, and thus warned him of her friends' plans. The Commandant listened to her tale, praising her courage, and assured her that no harm would befall her. He was none other than General Symmachus, who had been scouring the countryside in search of her since her disappearance, and had just arrived in Riften not long before. Hot in pursuit, he took her into his custody and informed her that, far from being sent away to be sold, she was to be reinstated as the Queen of Mournhold as soon as she turned 18. Until that time, she was to live with the Septim family in the newly built Imperial City, where she would learn something of government and be presented at the Imperial Court. At the Imperial City, Baron Zaya befriended Emperor Tiber Septim during the middle years of his reign. Tiber's children, particularly his eldest son and heir Pelagius, which would become to be known as Pelagius the Mad, came to love her as a sister. The ballads of the day praised her beauty, chastity, wit, and learning on her 18th birthday. The entire Imperial City turned out to watch her farewell procession preliminary to her return of her native land. Sorrowful as they were at her departure, all knew that she was ready for her glorious destiny as sovereign to the kingdom of Mournhold.
How do you know Pelagius went mad there, Smeb?
That's some pretty high spoilers there, my friend, but suffice to say, timey-wimey.
Timey what?
Exactly. Now, do you want me to continue?
By all means. Time travel, holy shit, I got myself an amazing cameraman.
Biography of Queen Baron Zaya, Volume 3, by Stern Gamboge, Imperial Scribe. In the second volume of this series, it was told how Baron Zaya was kindly welcomed to the newly constructed Imperial City by the Emperor Tiber Septim, as well as his family, who treated her like a long-lost daughter during her almost one-year stay. After several happy months there, learning her duties as a vassal queen under the Empire, the Imperial General Symmachus escorted her to Morrowind, where she took up her duties as queen of her people under his wise guidance. Gradually, they came to love one another and were married and crowned in a splendid ceremony. Good God! In a splendid ceremony at which the Emperor himself officiated. After several hundred years of marriage, a son, who came to be known as Helseth, was born to the royal couple amidst celebration and joyous prayer. Although it was not publicly known at the time, it was shortly thereafter this blessed event that the Staff of Chaos had been stolen from the hiding place deep in the Mournhold mines by a rather clever and enigmatic bard known only as the Nightingale. 8 years after Helseth's birth, Baron Zaya bore a daughter, Morgaya, named after Symmachus' mother, and the royal couple's joy seemed complete. Alas, shortly after, relations with the Empire mysteriously started to deteriorate, leading to much civil unrest in Mournhold. After many fruitless attempts and investigations with no reconciliation, in despair, Baron Zaya took her young children and traveled to the Imperial City herself to seek the heir of then-Emperor Uriel Septim VII. Symmachus remained in Mournhold to deal with the grumbling peasants and annoyed nobility, and to do what he could to stave off an impending insurrection. During her audience with the Emperor, Baron Zaya, through her mystical acts, came to the realization and horror, as well as dismay, that her so-called Emperor was actually an impostor. It was none other than the bard Nightingale who had stolen the Staff of Chaos. Exercising great self-control, she concealed this realization from him. That evening, news came that Symmachus had fallen in battle with the revolting peasants of Mournhold, and that the kingdom had been taken over by the rebels. Baron Zaya at this point did not know where to seek help or from whom. The gods, that faithful night, were evidently looking out for her, as if in redress of her loss. King Edware of High Rock, an old friend of Uriel Septim Symmachus, came by on a social call. It comforted her, pledged his friendship, and he comforted her pledged his friendship, and furthermore confirmed her suspicions that the Emperor was indeed a fraud. None other than Yagar Thorn, the Imperial Battle Mage, and one of the Nightingale's many alter egos. Tharn had supposedly retired into seclusion from public work, and installed his assistant, Raisilmain, in his stead. The hapless assistant was later put to death under mysterious circumstances. Supposedly a plot implicating her had been uncovered, and she had been summarily executed. However, her ghost had appeared to Edwir in a dream and revealed to him that the true Emperor had been kidnapped by Tharn and imprisoned in an alternate dimension. Tharn had to use the Staff of Chaos. Tharn had then used the Staff of Chaos to kill her when he attempted to warn the Elder Council of his nefarious plot. Together, Idwer and Baranzaya plotted to gain the false Emperor's confidence. Meanwhile, another friend of Rhea's, known only as the Champion, who apparently possessed great, albeit then untapped, potential, was incarcerated at the Imperial dungeons. However, she had access to his dreams, and she told him to bide his time until she could devise a plan that would effect his escape. Then he could begin on his mission to unmask this impostor. Baranzaya continued to charm and eventually befriend the Yurtzat's emperor by contriving to read his secret diary. She learned that he had broken the Staff of Chaos into 8 pieces and hidden them in far-flung locations scattered across Tamriel. She managed to obtain a copy of the key to Rhea's friend's cell and bribed a guard to leave it there as if by accident. Their champion, whose name was unknown even to Baranzaya and Idwer, made his escape through a shift gate Rhea had opened in an obscure corner in the Imperial dungeons using her already failing powers. The champion was free at last and almost immediately went to work. It took Baranzaya several more months to learn the hiding places of all 8 staff pieces through snatches of overhead conversation and rare glances at Tharn's diary. Once she had the vital information, however, which she communicated to Rhea forthwith, who in turn passed it on to the champion, she and Idwer lost no time. They fled to Wayrest, his ancestral kingdom in the province of Hyrok, where they managed to fend off the sporadic efforts of Tharn's henchmen to haul them back to the Imperial City, or at the very least, obtain revenge. Tharn, whatever else might be said of him, was not one's fool, save perhaps Baranzaya's, and he concentrated most of his efforts towards tracking down and destroying the champion. As all now know, the courageous, indefatigable, and forever nameless champion was successful in reuniting the 8 sundered pieces of the Staff of Chaos, and with it, he destroyed Tharn and rescued the true Emperor, Uriel Septim VII, following what came to be known as the Restoration, a grand state memorial service held for Symmachus at the Imperial City, befitting the man who had served the Septim dynasty for so long and so well. Baranzaya and good King Idwer had come to care for one another during their trials and adventures, and were thus married the same year shortly after their flight from the Imperial City. 2 children from their previous marriage with Symmachus remained with her, and a regent was appointed to rule Mournhold in her absence. Up to the present time, Queen Baranzaya had been in Wayrest with Prince Helseth and Princess Morgaya. She planned to return to Mournhold after Idwer's death, since he was already elderly when they wed. She knows that the event, alas, could not be far off as the elves reckon time. Until then, she shares in the government of the kingdom of Wayrest with her husband, and seems glad and content with her finally quiet, albeit unremarkably, seems glad and content with her finally quiet and happily unremarkable life.
Hope you enjoyed today. That was the biography of Baranzaya. Next, we'll get into the true history as the books tell it. So, with that, we'll see you another time. Have a good day, and have your greatest week. Stewart out.